we are doing what 23 governors and 55 legislatures refused to do, and I'm so proud to be the ones that got this job done.
We start with a historic moment. A near total ban on abortion that dates to Arizona's first year as a U.S. territory in 1864 is erased from the law books. But there's understandable confusion about what Governor Katie Hobbs' bill signing did. For one thing, it did not immediately repeal the abortion ban. The repeal bill didn't win enough votes to do that. That means the near total ban could become state law for an unknown period of time in the next few months. Here's what that looks like.
As of today, under a 2022 state law, abortion is banned in Arizona after 15 weeks of pregnancy. There are no exceptions for cases of rape or incest. Under the Arizona Supreme Court ruling that upheld the 1864 near total ban on abortion, that law is scheduled to take effect on June 27th. That's unless the court modifies its ruling. The 1864 law bans abortion except to save a mother's life. Abortion providers who break the law could be jailed. The repeal that Governor Katie Hobbs signed into law takes effect 90 days after the end of the legislative session. That could be sometime in September or October. There's no firm date. The 15-week ban will then be reinstated.
And that timeline could change. The Arizona Supreme Court will review arguments this week to push back the June 27th start date of the near total abortion ban to the date when the repeal takes effect. That's just some of the fallout from the repeal. Our political panel is here to talk about what happens next. Tony Cani, former top Biden campaign official in Arizona. He's with Slingshot Campaigns. And Barrett Marson, a Republican political consultant at Marson Media. Welcome back to Square Off.
Good morning, Brad.
So it was an Arizona Supreme Court ruling that sparked the national uproar over abortion rights. Will the justices respond to the legislature's repeal by suspending what they did, or whatever the legal term is? Tony?
I don't know, but I do know that the Attorney General, Chris Mays, is going to do everything she can to try and keep this from becoming law in a way that would put people at risk. And so she is being very clever. She's doing everything she can in the courts. And I do hope that the justices do what's right here and just go with this legislative intent this time and actually get rid of that ban.
And is that the key question here? Legislative intent. It seems this court will defer to that.
Well, look, Bram, I think I need to disclose, I'm not a lawyer. Okay. I got my law degree really from Law & Order University, the first 8 seasons. But, I mean, you know, I'm not a lawyer, but I would think that the justices, for them, it would weigh heavily that the law has been repealed and it has been signed. The legislature's voted on and it's been signed. I think that would weigh heavy on them, knowing that at some point soon, this won't be the law anymore. So I could see them staying or overturning their previous decision, whatever the mechanism is.
And if that were the case, then the 15-week ban would be the law, ban after 15 weeks, I should say, would be the law all the way through election day.
At least election day.
And
correct.
So that's where the focus is right now. It is on election day, and opponents of this abortion initiative, people who supported the ban, are saying, we're not going to do anything to compete with the initiative. We're just going to fight it head on. Do you think that's the way it's going to turn out?
Well, look, I think that's. I don't know if there are the votes to do anything other than that in the legislature, and I do believe that you want to have an. You know, I heard a lot of Republicans the other day stand up and say, Arizona is a pro-life state. Let's test that theory out.
And a majority of Republicans, a vast majority of Republicans in the legislature, voted to support the 1864 near total ban. There is going to be, pretty clear, likely to be a ballot initiative that would enshrine abortion rights in the state constitution. Do you see it the same way? There won't be a competing initiative, even though there's been talk of one?
I don't know what they'll do. I think originally the plan was that they would refer multiple things to try and dilute the vote from all of the initiatives so that they all would fail and the 1864 one would stay in place. That's what I read that leaked plan as.
The super secret plan.
Right, and so the one that they emailed to everybody. And now that that's gone, I think they're probably going to stand pat. And, you know, over 90% of the Republican legislators decided to vote and fight to keep this 1864 ban. And one of the main issues that's going to come up in this campaign for the Abortion Access Act is whether or not the legislature should continue to be the ones that are in charge of this, or whether or not it should be put in the Constitution. And I do think that voters are going to see that and say, wait a minute, like 90% of the Republicans wanted this other Civil War era ban. Yeah, I think we got to take it out of their hands. I think that this actually really helps.
And that's a key feature of this Arizona Abortion Act. The legislature will have no role in regulating abortion.
Well, and just like any sort of, well, first of all, it's constitutional, but just like any anything in the Constitution, you'd have to send it back to the voters. And so, yes, the legislature would have zero to do other than around the edges and furthering the purpose. So, I mean, look, I don't know if the votes are there to put a competing issue on, but you know, Republicans are going to focus, I think, in the next week or two on an immigration a referral. That speaks to their people, and that's what they should be doing.
And we're going to talk about that in the next segment. What about the political fallout of this months-long battle? 5 lawmakers, Republican lawmakers, joined with Democrats. 2 were punished for it. Let's put their names out there: Shauna Bullock, Matt Gress, Tim Dunn, Justin Wilmoth, TJ Shope, all voting with Democrats. Can they survive those votes in their primaries or the general?
I think they're probably going to survive the primaries just because of who they're running against. But you know, I don't know. I think that the bell has been rung. I think that this is going to be a challenge to them, even though they flipped. I mean, in the case of TJ Shope and Shauna Bullock, they both voted for the 2022 law, which had the thing in it that said that this would go into effect. And TJ Shope, when he was asked about it on the radio, said he had no regrets about it. I think that stuff is going to be tough. It's going to be really tough for them. The other element I think it's important about this is another problem that the pro-life, the anti-abortion people have when it comes to their credibility arguing their case to voters. And I think that this is, you know, we've seen Carrie Lake, who's very obviously said one thing and then saying the other. And then you've got the campaign against the initiative saying, oh, it goes too far, when many of these people think that IVF goes too far. And, you know, I know that Kathy Harrod said that on your show. So I just don't think that voters are going to be looking at the pro-life people and believing what they're saying. And I think they're going to have a hard time explaining it this way.
But I think that, you know, because there is now going to be, assuming everything gets worked out in the courts, there's going to be a 15-week limitation rather than 0. It takes a little bit of the steam away from the individual candidates. I still believe that the AAA is going to pass, probably with 60%. So
60%.
Yeah, I think so, especially after the last month or whatever it's been, right? I think it goes to 60%. But I don't know that voters will take it out on the candidates as well. I think they'll use their outlet on the abortion initiative, but then look at the candidates themselves on other issues, immigration and the economy.
Interesting, got ended there. When we come back,